A starlit night and a dreaming prince. In a beautiful and peaceful kingdom called Gemilang, there lived a young Egisea prince named Arka.
Arka. Arka Izar.
Prince Arka was kind-hearted and always curious about Egisea prince, each of healing issued.
The world around him. Every night, the sky above the Gemilang palace was under Incalan, filled with thousands of twinkling stars, like tiny lights dancing in the dark. Of the Egisea prince was lured, hailing Egisea. One clear night, Prince Arka was like tiny lights dancing in the dark. Of the Egisea prince was lured. One clear night.
Prince Arka sat by the large window of his room, gazing Egisea at the star-filled sky.
In very night was raided with trials, the bouncing's care, and tried to send up again, twinkling Egisea prince.
"Wow, how beautiful the stars are tonight," he murmured.
A million time, Prince Arka was not to a stories of the starring, with kind, always to attented, and bands to attented.
Softly.
They happened to attented, a very with every favorites. Every Sunday was favorite.
They seem like stories waiting to be told.
In the stories is they are say of that, at stories wise, as like ones, as like someone.
Suddenly, a gentle voice, is a stars with dueling the darker space,
Came from behind him. Prince Arka, do you also like looking at the stars like Egisea, whether you know?
asked Princess Maya, his little friend from the neighbouring star, also fortemosing each hour. Only Kingdom, who had come carrying a small basket of food to share.
Arka smiled, and himoizes a phrase and our game. Arka smiled and turned around. Hello, Maya.
I really love looking at the stars. They make it easier me think about dreams and adventures far away from here. Would you like to dildin Isya nervitic Cretan stars and then discover?
Sit with me and talk about tonight's stars.
His board is final Isa and air. It stars by the stars is like to Cancer Isa. It invited, Maya nodded, only dildin Isa.
Maya nodded with our game. Cheerfully.
Is a darker. The darkers work up to houtis Crete. Is darker revility they have many. Is a dildin is a air. Is a curious. Do the stars have special secrets? Or maybe they can take us to a magical dream world.
The two of them sat at the ward eversing of under window ledge facing the night sky. They and sit with it from the big stars. A cool night breeze carried the fragrance of the big stars. The big stars.
The two of them sat a talus GP. They have glowful gassy at 10 to stage talus again. They clopped to go the door dark, with some of the way also field.
I have starring other exactly. And every single, I would leave them with the stars from the palace garden.
I pray that tonight I have a beautiful and a stepped GP special stars. Is 2 days.
I stalked and is a mission. I know mission. Maybe.
Isa, the first cowanding gluful ledge, because they said Isa.
I know mission. I know mission. I know mission. I have different. I know mission.
The stars also Isa. Maybe the stars are listening. Arka nodded eagerly. Yes, Mayor, I dreamed about stars that could take us flying to faraway and magical places. In my dream, I flew to the moon and met friendly and funny creatures. Maya giggled. Wow, that's amazing. I never had a dream like that. It must have been very special. I'm sure that dream was not just an ordinary fantasy, Arka said, looking up at the blue sky. maybe the stars want to show me something important for our kingdom. Suddenly, a royal servant approached, carrying a letter sealed with a beautiful gold emblem. Prince Arka, this is a letter for you from the sky, King, ruler of the stars, he said politely. Arka carefully opened the letter and began to read aloud softly. Prince Arka, the stars call you for a very important adventure. Only you can help keep their light shining for the world. Wow, this is incredible, Maya exclaimed in awe. What must you do, Arka? Arka took a deep breath, but his eyes still sparkled. I must go to the star peak, where the star's light is guarded, but I don't know how to get there. Maya grasped Arka's hand tightly. Don't worry, I will accompany you. We will take this adventure together. They smiled courageously at each other. That afternoon, they began preparing everything needed for their journey to Star Peak, a place that only existed in fairy tales. That day, Prince Arka and Princess Maya were busy preparing everything for their journey. The Gemilang Palace was filled with the bustle of preparations. They knew that the journey to Star Peak would not be easy, but their courage and enthusiasm made them very excited. In the spacious royal chamber, Arka was packing a small bag. Maya, I'm bringing some bread and water for the journey. Are you ready with your equipment? Arka asked with a smile. Maya, tying the laces of her boots, replied, I've brought rope, a small flashlight, and a map given by the royal advisor. We need the map so we don't get lost. Suddenly, an old man wearing a blue cloak, the wise royal advisor, came forward carrying a small box. Prince Arka, this is a gift from the Sky King, he said softly. Inside this box is a crystal light that will help you illuminate the path in the darkness of night. Use it wisely. Arka carefully opened the box, revealing a small crystal glowing with a soft white light. Thank you, advisor. I'm sure this will be very useful. Maya smiled. We must help each other throughout the journey, Arka. I believe we can overcome everything if we are together. Nightfall came. Before they set off, they sat under the star-filled sky. Arka softly said, Maya, you know, I feel a little scared, but also very excited. This adventure is important for everyone in our kingdom. Maya held Arka's hand. I feel the same, Arka, but we have each other, and that makes everything feel easier. They both gazed at the sparkling night sky, hoping the stars would give them strength and courage. The next morning, a bright day greeted Prince Arka and Princess Maya. After resting and carefully preparing all the equipment, they stood at the grand gate of Gemilang Palace. Their faces showed enthusiasm and a little nervousness. Arka looked into the distance and said, Maya, I've never felt this excited, but I'm also a bit scared. Do you feel the same? Maya smiled while holding Arka's hand. I am nervous, but I'm sure we can get through it together. Remember, we have the crystal light from the Sky King that will guide our steps. They began walking out of the palace gate with brave hearts. The winding path leading to the dense forest was the start of their adventure. Birds sang to greet the morning, and sunlight filtered through the green leaves. During the journey, Arka stopped briefly and said, Maya, look, there are strange marks on the trees, like tracks I've never seen before. Maya nodded. We must be careful. Star Peak is far, and the path is full of mysteries. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from behind the bushes. Arka and Maya looked at each other cautiously. From behind the bushes appeared a cute white rabbit that seemed unafraid. Hello, who are you? The small voice was clear. Arka smiled. I am Prince Arka, and this is Princess Maya. We're on a journey to Star Peak to protect the star's light. The rabbit hopped cheerfully. I'm Namaiku, the guardian of this forest. I will accompany you so you don't get lost and help you face the obstacles on the way. Maya was excited. Wow, nice to meet you, Namaiku. Together, we can surely overcome all challenges. The three of them walked together, passing tall trees and winding paths. The sun slowly began to set as they arrived at a wide field filled with small sparkling flowers, as if welcoming travelers with soft light. Arka looked at the night sky, starting to shine with stars. Look, Maya and Namaiku, the stars are beginning to shine. I'm sure this is a good sign. Maya smiled warmly. This is just the beginning, Arka. Our adventure has just started, and I am sure it is full of wonders. That night, they rested under the shade of a large tree, their hearts full of enthusiasm and hope. The crystal light from the Sky King softly glowed among them, guiding their dreams and steps towards Star Peak. The next morning, Prince Arka, Princess Maya, and Namaiku continued their journey. After walking for several hours, they reached the densest and darkest part of the forest. The leaves almost blocked out all sunlight, making the atmosphere somewhat gloomy. Arka took a deep breath. Maya, I feel this path is getting harder. We must stay alert. Maya nodded. Yes, Arka. We must watch out for each other and not get separated. Namaiku, do you know how to get through this part of the forest? Namaiku, the white rabbit, hopped lightly and said, Of course, I know this forest, like my own home, but you must be patient and careful because sometimes there are traps and sounds that can be frightening. Soon, a rustling sound came from behind the bushes. Maya held Arka's hand tighter. What is that? I'm a little scared. Arka tried to smile to ease Maya's worry. Let's see, we're here together, so no need to be afraid. Out from behind a tree came a small owl. Who? You want to pass through this dark forest? I will help guide you, it said softly. Arka smiled in relief. Thank you, Tiku, the owl. We really need your help. With Tiku's guidance, they began to walk more confidently. Arka and Maya followed the trail given by the owl, with Namaiku hopping ahead as the guide. Suddenly, the path they were on split into two. On the left, the trail looked dense and dark, and on the right, there was the soothing sound of flowing water. Maya faced Arka. Which one will you choose, Arka? I trust you to pick the best path. Arka thought for a moment, then said, Let's take the right path. The sound of water could mean there's a source that might help us if we get thirsty. Suddenly, the rustling sound appeared again. This time it was closer and louder. They stopped and tightly held each other's hands. Calm down. We must stay together and not panic, Arka said firmly. From behind, the bushes appeared a small fox that looked curious. I'm not an enemy. I just want to be a friend and help you, said the fox, while wagging its tail. Maya smiled warmly. The more friends, the more fun the adventure. Come join us. With the new friend, their journey continued. Night began to fall, but the crystal light from the Sky King kept glowing, lighting their way. It's time to rest a little, said Arka. Tomorrow we will continue the journey with a new spirit. Maya nodded as she kindled a small fire with the help of the crystal light. I am sure that as long as we are together, there is nothing we can't face. That night, they slept soundly in the dark forest, dreaming of even more amazing adventures ahead. After a quiet night in the dark forest, Prince Arka, Princess Maya, Namaiku, the white rabbit, and their new friend, the small fox, continued the journey towards Star Peak. The morning sun shyly peeked behind the trees, giving warm light that encouraged them to keep walking. Arka smiled while looking at the horizon. We're almost at Star Peak, Maya. I can feel the air is different here. Maya nodded enthusiastically. That's right, Arka, but I also feel there is something mysterious around here. Namaiku hopped lightly and whispered, Star Peak is indeed a place full of wonders, but also many secrets yet to be uncovered. Suddenly, the sound of water flowing came from the trees ahead. They quickly approached and found a small lake with water shining like a mirror of stars. So beautiful! Maya gasped in awe while looking at the reflection of the stars on the water's surface. Arka approached the edge of the lake and said, "This seems to be a glowing lake, a very rare place. I wonder what is hidden inside." Suddenly, from the bottom of the lake emerged a soft blue light. The light formed the figure of a small fairy with sparkling wings. "Hello, travelers," the fairy's voice sounded. Gentle. "I am Leela, the guardian fairy of the Star Lake. You have shown courage and a kind heart on this journey." Maya smiled. "Nice to meet you, Leela. We are on a mission to protect the star's light and safeguard the world from darkness." Leela nodded. "To reach Star Peak, you must pass the final test. But don't worry, I will help you." Arka asked eagerly, "What test must we face, Leela?" The fairy said, "You must demonstrate courage, wisdom, and cooperation. This lake will be the place where you test all three." With a touch from Leela's hand, the lake's surface transformed into a shimmering door of light. Arka, Maya, Namaiku, and the little fox looked at each other and stepped into the light together. As they passed through the door, they arrived in a room filled with small orbiting stars. A voice explained, "To pass the test, you must light 3 different stars. Each star will be tested through challenges requiring courage, wisdom, and teamwork." Arka stepped forward and said, "Let's face this test together. I believe we can do it." Maya smiled confidently. "That's right. As long as we're together, nothing is impossible." The first test appeared as a frightening dark shadow they had to face. Without fear, Arka steeled his heart and took the lead for his friends. The second test was a puzzle only solvable with wisdom and care, where Maya used her clever mind to solve it. The third test involved cooperation to move the little stars to form a pattern of the sky map. With the help of Namaiku and the fox, they moved the stars in harmony. After passing the tests, a bright light enveloped them, and Lila's voice was heard again. "You have proven yourselves to be true guardians of the star's light. Star Peak will now open for you." The door of light opened and revealed the view of the mountain's summit filled with shining stars. Arka, Maya, Namaiku, and the little fox stepped onto the peak, their hearts full of joy and gratitude. Maya said, "We made it, Arka. The star's light will be safe in our hands." Arka smiled warmly. "This is the beginning of our duty as protectors of the star's light. Our adventure has truly just begun." That night, they enjoyed the beauty of the stars at the mountain peak while promising to always guard the light so the world remains bright and full of hope. After successfully passing the test at Star Peak, Prince Arka, Princess Maya, Namaiku, the white rabbit, and the little fox stood looking at the night sky full of twinkling stars. The starlight seemed brighter than ever, as if congratulating them on their success. Arka raised his right hand and said, firmly, "We have become the guardians of the star's light. Our duty is not only to keep this light shining, but also to ensure all living creatures live in peace and hope." Maya smiled warmly. "That's right, Arka. We must always remember that the power of the light comes from our courage, wisdom, and cooperation." Namaiku hopped and said, "I'm ready to help you whenever needed. We are one team." The little fox wagged its tail. "This adventure may end here, but our friendship will always live on." That night, under the stars' glow, they made a promise. They vowed to always protect the star's light and help anyone in need. Their adventure may be over, but the story of courage and kindness will continue. Arka looked up at the sky. "Thank you, Maya, Namaiku, and the fox. Without you, I wouldn't have made it this far." Maya smiled sweetly. "We are all together. That is what makes us strong." Before parting, they sat together beneath a big tree, sharing stories and laughter. The stars seemed to dance along with their happiness. In the distance, a thin mist slowly appeared, reminding them that there are still many wonders in this world waiting to be discovered. Arka then spoke softly, "Let us always protect this light together." Maya, Namaiku, and the fox nodded in agreement. That night, with hearts full of hope and renewed spirit, they closed this chapter of their adventure, ready to meet again in new stories full of magic and kindness.